Hello, I'm Gigi the Reader, and today I will be reviewing Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. In the story, Three Dark Crowns is where the island it takes place on the island of Finburn, which is governed by a magical elemental queen. Every generation on the island of Finburn, a set of triplets are born. By age 6, the triplets are separated and raised in three separate homes on the island. At birth, their mother, the previous reigning queen, steps down, moves away with her courted king, and is not involved in the rearing of the girls. Hold on. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention to y'all I have a speaker here by the name of Shaquita, my co-narrator, Shaquita the Fairy, and she's always running late. Wait a minute, hold on.
Ooh, wait a minute. Let me catch my breath. I had to run over here. I'm here. You're not gonna start story time without me this time.
Oh my goodness.
Not this time. I am here for this one.
Okay.
Y'all gonna like this one. Okay. Alright. I read this one. Gigi to read out. Shaquita the Fairy. I'm here. I read this book this time. Usually I just sit in and listen, but I read this one. I know the tea, everything that's going on. Y'all gonna have a star. We got Mirabella, we got Arsenio, and we got this other sister Catherine. Okay, we got those three sisters. But y'all gonna have something. We got a love triangle going on in this one. And if go toward the end, this book might be boring, it might be dark, but you get towards the end, it gets better.
Don't give nothing away yet, though.
Okay, I'm not gonna give away nothing. I'm not gonna give away it. I wasn't gonna tell them what's gonna happen at the end, but it's gonna be some. You wait till you get to the end.
Okay.
There's gonna be a star character in this one. Okay, take the mic, take it, get it started. Let's get it popping. Let's get it. Okay, one more thing. Before we get started, just everybody just go ahead and like and subscribe. Okay, just trust Shaquita on this one. Just trust Shaquita on this one. Trust Shaquita the Fairy on this one. I'm telling you, it might start out a little bit slow and dark, because I didn't know the story's gonna be this dark, but it gets juicy at the end. And somebody gonna have a star appearance at the end. You got the main characters, Catherine and Arsenio and Marabella, okay, but it's gonna be a star appearance at the end. Somebody gonna have a star appearance. Okay, can I just give one little hint? I'm gonna give y'all a little hint. Have y'all ever heard that story, Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
Oh my God, no. It had nothing to do with them.
Okay, Goldilocks not in this story, but I'm telling you, somebody make a star appearance at it. Y'all gotta wait and go ahead and hit like and subscribe now, please. Okay, here's your mic.
Alright, where was I at? Okay. Okay, where was I at? Okay, so I left off at birth. Their mother, the previous reigning queen, steps down, moves away with her courted king, and is not involved in the rearing of the girls. From there, from the age of 6 to 17, the girls are raised in three separate homes in three separate regions of the island. The girls are gifted with with different magical skills. They are governed over and raised by a number of priestesses and high priestesses who help them hone and sharpen their gifted skills. I have to mention that along with their special skills, they have familiars. Familiars are small animals that provide assistance to them or provide protection as they come into their new powers. But none of the sisters have found their familiars yet. The familiars are they just naturally come to them as wandering animals. They could be anything from a small dog, cat, a wolf, bird, or a squirrel, but none of them have familiars yet. So Catherine has a pet snake, but it's not her familiar, it's just a pet. The biggest oddity of this story is that at some point they have to kill each other. Only one of the three queens can reign. Whichever of the three that proves the stronger has to kill the other two weaker sisters. They call in this event they call it the ritual of the Beltane ceremony that occurs on their 17th birthday. This occurs they call this the event of the ritual Beltane ceremony. This occurs on the 17th birthday. But this is the year they turn 16. This is their ascension year, the year they all start and prepare to court their suitors. They have to court to find a king to mate with. They each court 6 to 7 different young men from the mainlands. They are called suitors. So far, one suitor has shown up from the mainland. His name is William Chatworth Jr. He's introduced to Arsino, but she's let him know she's not interested in him straight off the bat. So he travels to Prin to Grieve Drake Manor to be introduced to Catherine. So moving on, Sylvian, Nicola, and Camille were the last to rule. Queen Camille, the last queen to step down, she was the triplets' mother. In typical Finburn fashion and tradition, she did not raise them. She moved away with her courted king as soon as she gave birth. In this story, the three sisters are named Catherine, Arsino, and Mirabella. They each have different elemental gifts. The gifts of the sisters are as follows. Firstly, Catherine, who lives in the Greaves Drake Manor in the region of Printon, which is the poisoner city. Her gift is poisoner. Her priestesses are sisters Natalia and Genevieve Aaron. Their cousins Luca and Allegra, who sometimes visit and help them. Catherine is the poisoner. Oddly enough, to me, this doesn't seem like a special gift or a magical gift from the gods, because in order to attain this gift, she must be poisoned with various foods, plants, and roots, and until she builds up an immunity to all poisons. Her active duty as queen, when and if she becomes queen, is to execute convicted prisoners and inmates with poisons. Okay, firstly, it seems anyone can have their body be poisoned until they build up a tolerance to poison. It doesn't seem like much of a gift. And why can't they just hire an executioner to execute the criminals with poison? So that doesn't make sense. But moving on, Catherine's teachers and priestesses are hard on her, especially Genevieve is the worst, who's just downright evil towards her sometimes. It seems she doesn't have anyone she can since Catherine doesn't have anyone she can confide in and be close to, but Natalia and Genevieve's nephew comes to visit when they throw a party. He lives with his parents but hates his stepmother, so he decides to stay and live at Grieve Drake's manor until Catherine turns 17. He's befriended Catherine. She likes Peter, and although he cannot be an official suitor, his aunt Genevieve wants him to stay and teach Catherine the proper etiquette on how to court her suitor. In exchange for this staying at the manor, Genevieve promises him a seat on the Black Council when it comes time for Catherine to become queen, if she's chosen as queen. Moving on to the next sister, Arsino is a naturalist. She lives at Wolf Spring in the naturalist city. A naturalist has the ability to make things grow rapidly, like an entire flower from a bud or a tree. She also has the ability to control animals and wild animals and their actions. Her close friend and priestess is Jules. Jules has a cougar named Camden. Jules also has a boyfriend named Joseph. Joseph's family owns a boating company. One day he has to deliver a boat to the other side of the island to the city of Trignor. I'll back to him as to what happens on his way because it involves the next sister, Mirabella. Okay, next, moving on to Mirabella. She lives in the city of Rolnath. She lives in the West House. She lived in Westwood House. Mirabella is skillless elemental. She has the gift of controlling lightning, thunder, large bodies of water, moving rocks, and starting earthquakes. Her teachers and priestesses are two sisters named Ro and Luca. Ro is the cold-hearted one that is very hard on her. Elizabeth is Mirabella's closest friend. She's also a high priestess, and she also lives at the Westwood House. So far, by looking at her training, Mirabella seems to be the strongest and best at her skills. But her overseers, being Ro and Luca, are very concerned that Mirabella won't be able to kill her sisters when the time comes. You see, each sister during their training as queens are taught to hate each other because they'll one day have to kill the weaker sister if they want to reign as queen. Anyway, that being said, they can see that Mirabella will have a problem with killing her sisters. The reader can see that when engaged in dialogue about their sisters, they naturally feel cold towards them and dream of the day they will kill the other off. Mirabella is different. Mirabella is haunted of dreams of her and her sisters playing together before they were separated at the age of 6. Because she speaks lovingly about these dreams and memories and shows signs of missing her sisters, all of her overseers see this as a big concern that she will not or won't kill them when the time comes. They tell her not to reflect on the dreams and accept the fact that she will have to kill them when the Beltane time comes. Mirabella tries but can't stop thinking of her sisters and dreads the day that she may have to kill them. One late night, she tells her close friend and high priestess Elizabeth she can no longer take Luca and Rose criticism of her feelings and curiosity of her sister. So late one night, without telling anyone but Elizabeth, she decides to run away from Rolnath to Trignor, I guess to search for her sisters there, even though she's not supposed to be in touch with them before the Beltane ceremony. So this is what ensues during her travels. As she approaches Trignor's shores, a storm starts. Now, this brings me back to Joseph. Remember Jules' boyfriend. Jules is Arsenio's close friend. Joseph, Jules' boyfriend, was sailing a boat from Wolf Spring to Trignor. He was delivering a boat to a client of his father's. They own a boat repair business. So anyway, the plan was for him to drop it off there and ride a horse back across the land to Wolf Spring. But before he could reach the shore of Trignor, he was caught in a terrible storm. Okay, so he's caught in this terrible storm at the exact same time Mirabella is coming down from a mountain that overlooks the waters he's traveling in. Mirabella spots the boat. She knows the boat is in trouble. It's tossing in the raging waters. She quickly uses her elemental powers to calm the waters as best she can. The boat is destroyed, but she is able to rescue Joseph as he is washed ashore. But it's freezing cold, raining, and they both are soaking wet. She pulls him under some trees off of the shore to take cover from the storm. She then starts the fire. The fire is enough. His lips are turning blue, and he's soaking wet. She pulls his clothes off and puts them near to the fire so that they could dry. She pulls her wet cloak off and dress off. She puts the cloak over him and lays close to him to use her body to warm him. It's still not enough, so she hugs him tight under the cloak and presses her lips to his. Well, well. They start to kiss, and then does what comes naturally. They have sex. She loses her virginity to him. The next morning, he has an uncomfortable conversation with her. He doesn't have much to say, even though he realizes what they've done together. He doesn't want to talk about it. But when he gets a good look at her, he realizes that she is one of the triplets. He realizes that she's Arseno's sister. When she finds out that he knows Arseno, she assumes he's her suitor. She asks him, but he doesn't correct her and tell her different. He lets her think he's Arsenio's suitor when he's actually Jules' boyfriend. Anyway, after they're dried off and dressed, he asks her which way she's traveling. She tells him, so they decide to travel to Trignor together. Meanwhile, back at Woodspring, Arseno, Jules, and Joseph's family hear about the storm. Out of concern for Joseph, Arseno, Jules, and Billy decide to get horses and travel by land to Trignor to see if Joseph made it there safely. So as they start their journey to look for Joseph back at Mirabella's home, her priestesses find out that she's run away. So Ro and Luca set out on their own journey to find her. Ironically, as Mirabella and Joseph are traveling through the woods towards Trignor, they are found by both search parties at the same time. They all come up and meet together. So, firstly, Joseph's crew comes upon them. They aren't on the horses, they are walking now. When Arseno, Billy, and Jules see Joseph, Jules runs to him and hugs him tight. Then she looks at Mirabella and recognizes right away that it's Arseno's sister. Mirabella sees Arseno and right away walks towards her. She's surprised to see her sister. She wants to embrace her sister, but Arseno is guarded. Arseno's trained hatred shows that she doesn't want to touch her sister when Mirabella reaches out to take her hand. It doesn't matter because as soon as she reaches for her sister, Ro and some more of the search party gallop in on horses, run in between them. Ro reaches down and snatches Mirabella up on her horse before she can have an encounter with her sister, and they gallop away, taking her back to Rolnath. While back in Rolnath, Luca discusses Mirabella's affection and obsession with meeting her sisters again to Ro. She says that she can only hope that Mirabella will be a white-handed queen, meaning she won't have to kill her sisters, that instead that it can be arranged for the priestesses to kill Arseno and Catherine if they have to. So back at Woodspring, at Arseno's home, it's a matter of time that Jules notices how different Joseph is acting. Finally, she asks what she had been suspecting for days. Did something happen between him and Mirabella? He confesses that he slept with her, but explained why. He said he was cold and he was delirious when it happened. She told him to get away from her before she let her familiar Camden rip his throat out. For the time being, he walked away. Back at Grievesdrake Manor in Prynne, Catherine is preparing to meet Billy, her first suitor, who's traveled from Arseno's home to Woodspring to her home. Later, at Rolnath, Mirabella reminisces about her encounter with her sister and about the flicker of trust in Arseno's eyes when she reached out for her, and also reminisces about Joseph.
Okay, so let's get down to some real good tea right here. So Mirabella, one of the sisters who haven't even started suiting yet, or met her suitor yet, or started courting yet, they all supposed to be courting, but Billy just actually starting to court Arseno's priestess, Jules' boyfriend Joseph. His big, and they had to get it on because he was in this boat. And where his boat had crashed at, Mirabella met with him and so-called trying to keep him warm. They just slept together and did the do together. And she had me start courting and met her first suitor. And she done got it on with Jules's man, Joseph. Because I guess the way, what's her name? Miss Kendall Blake, the writer. Or Kender, what's it, Kender?
Yes, Kender.
Okay, Miss Kendall Blake wrote this where Miss Mirabella, who's supposed to be the better looking out of all the sisters, that had to rescue this boy from his boat crash in a storm in order to keep him warm. They done got it on. And before she even met her suitor Billy, because Joseph is the boyfriend of Jules. And he's supposed to be so dedicated to Jules, which is a priestess to her sister Arseno. Okay, so that's the breakdown for y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doc, because you know I am the co-narrator.
Oh, you made yourself.
Right, I am the no, not no guest. You might as well go, I am the co-narrator, breaking all this down for y'all. So that's the tea right there. So we can go on with the story.
I am.
Here you go.
Thank you.
I just want to break it down for real.
Yeah, so.
Looky.
Yep.
Miss Mirabella. Alright. She saved his life with the nookie. She had to get it on. That's how she saved his life. Alright. Now I just break that. That's how it is. It is what it is.
So yeah, and so now Mirabella is reminiscing about her night with Joseph. So Mirabella finds that Roy and Luca had punished the high priestesses for helping her escape. They had Elizabeth's left hand cut off as a punishment. So Elizabeth let her because Elizabeth let her use her white cloak to disguise herself when she ran away that night. So some parts of this book is really dark. So moving on to Billy. Moving on, Billy returns to Wolf Spring back from visiting Catherine. So he's back with Arseno, which they just friends. They not really courting, but he's visited Catherine. While desperately seeking her familiar animal, Arseno is attacked by a bear and she mistakes as her familiar. Billy saves her by stepping between her and the bear. He and Jules helps her back to town. Jules and Joseph make up after their familiar cougar Camden is hurt while fighting the bear. She's injured. Camden's injured, but she'll be all right. Genevieve and Natalia hear that Arseno is near death from the bear attack. They gossip that Mirabella tried to kill her when they met in Masthead Woods, where the search parties found them, which is not true, but they think the bear attack was planned attack on her life. Billy's father, William Chatworth Sr., comes from the mainland and has a strange visit with Natalia. This is Catherine's priestess. We find out that they are longtime lovers. Billy's father, William Chatworth Sr., and Natalia, Catherine's priestess. So they're longtime lovers who've been intimate with each other for years, and she was the one who arranged for Joseph to be sent to Chatworth's home when he had been banished from the island. Now we find out that she made a deal with William Chatworth that his son Billy would be in line as one of the suitors for Catherine, even though traditionally she would have to court all three suitors. But she's arranged it where she made a deal with Billy's father that Catherine would choose Billy. But I don't think Catherine knows that. But anyway, in return, his father, William Chatworth, would have a trade deal with the island from the mainland. He's a bit of a swindler who is pimping out his own son. So William Chatworth Sr. promises Natalia that Billy will do as he's told and choose Catherine. And Natalia says if he obeys, she'll keep her promise of their trade deal. The deal will elevate his family's relations with them. William also tells Natalia he found a secret out while visiting Rollnath. Sarah Westwood, Mirabella's priestesses, told him they were planning on killing Catherine the night of the quickening instead of letting the queens kill each other. Remember, they wanted to make Mirabella a white-handed queen, which means because they don't think Mirabella has the nerve to kill her sisters or the heart to kill her sister, they were going to arrange it and have the priestesses kill Catherine. So he's letting the secret out the bag by telling this to Natalia. So he's telling, so instead of letting the queens kill each other. So back at Woodspring, Arseno finds out she's been permanently scarred from the bear attack. One side of her face is stitched and most of her cheek was torn away. She has to wear a mask that will cover one side of her face. Billy tells Arseno he doesn't want to marry her because she has none of the proper makings of a wife. But she didn't want to marry him anyway. They were friends, but they become close friends. He becomes close friends with her. Peter Reynard, who is a friend of Catherine, travels to Volroy Castle, where the Black Council is. When there, his aunt Natalia tells him how the high priestess planned to make Mirabella white-handed queen by letting a mob of people and other priestesses tear Catherine and Arseno apart. Little does he know that little does she know that Peter actually has feelings for Catherine now. Billy takes Arseno on a boat ride. When they head out to sea, he tells her his father found out that the priestess had planned to kill her and her sister Catherine to make Mirabella the queen. So he's going to take her safely to the mainland. I know the story is confusing. Two of the sisters have to die, but traditionally they have to kill each other in a battle to see who is the strongest. But they are not supposed to be ambushed by the priestesses. So Billy has found this out through his father, and that's why he wants to whisk are sending away safely to the mainlands. Valentine night is being prepared for, and everyone has met in Innsfield Valley. So they've all come from different parts of the island, and they met in Innsfield Valley. The sisters, all their sisters and priests, have set up a camp in their tents. First, they prepare for the first natural. Okay, so first they prepare for the naturalist hunt. So Valentine night is being prepared for, and everyone has met in Innisfield Valley. The sisters, all three sisters and their sisters and priestesses have set up camp in their tents. First, they prepare for the naturalist hunt. Although Arsino is still hiding in the mainlands with Billy, Jules, Joseph, and her priestesses show up to represent Wolf Spring in Arsino. And to represent Arsino. At Innisfield Valley, all three sisters are there to show off their skills in front of all the citizens of the island in Finburn. Arsino is supposed to be there to show off her skill as a naturalist. Catherine, her skills as a poisoner, and Mirabella, her skills to control fire and thunder. In the meantime, Joseph gets lost in the hunt from Jules. At the same time, Mirabella conveniently gets lost from her friend Bree and priestess Elizabeth. She runs into Joseph near some tall trees. Joseph grabs her hand and pulls her down near the tree trunks. They talk to each other. She says, "You do not know me like you know Jules, but do you want me just the same? Did it matter what happened that night in the storm?" Joseph slides his arm around her neck and kisses her hard, pressing her into the tree, and says, "It mattered, but God, I wish it hadn't." Finally, Arsino and Billy are found and dragged from the seashore before the Black Consul for judgment. Luca orders the priestess to kill Arsino right there in the tent in Innisfield Valley. Mirabella objects, but as they prepare to behead Arsino without consciously trying, Mirabella conjures up a storm and sends thunder through the tent and causes lightning bolts to rip through the tent that injures and knocks all the priestesses away from her sister. Later on, so she saved that at this time Mirabella had saved Arsino's life. Later, at the disembarking ceremony, 5 ships with 5 boys shows up at the shores of the valley. 5 boys who they'll court disembark from the ships. Natalia is pissed that it seems Billy will choose Arsino instead of Catherine as her and William Chatworth, his father, had planned. Mirabella is there at the encampment with her priestess Rue and Luca. Elizabeth and Bree help Mirabella prepare for the quickening. Because Arsino's familiar has not shown up yet, it's very important for a naturalist to have her familiar during the hunt of the quickening. Arsino needs a familiar to perform her quickening before the crowd of citizens of the island, so Jules and her mother, Madrigal, prepare a potion to charm a bear to help her. Madrigal will prepare a potion, and Jules will use her strong naturalist powers and skills to calm the bear, so it'll look like Arsino is controlling the bear before the crowd. The dumbest thing about Catherine's part of the quickening of the ceremony is the bunch of people. Catherine is the poisoner, and she's the part of her quickening ceremony is for a bunch of people and high priestesses is to watch her eat a table full of rotten and poisonous food, and she does it. She swallow all type of poisonous food, finishes everything before her without throwing it up or passing out, and the crowd cheers. It's dumb, but that's her way of showing off her skill as part of the ceremony. So, as for Arsino's performance, she drinks a putrid bowl of bear charming poison, which is her blood and the bear's blood mixed with water. A huge brown bear appears from the woods. Arsino pets the bear on the head and rubs his head between the eyes, and rubs his head between his eyes to impress the crowd. Then she commands the bear to stand on his hind legs. He does, and the crowd cheers. But remember, the bear is also actually under mind control by Jules, who is nearby. Next is Mirabella's turn for the quickening performance. It'll be a fire dance to show off her skill to handle and control fire. She reaches into the fire and shows the crowd how she can make it make the fire move across her body as she dances and not get burned. Jules has trouble holding Arseno's bear under control while Mirabella performs. Jules is distracted because she's searching the crowd for Joseph, wondering where he is. She finds him in the crowd. She's shocked and hurt when she finds him and sees that he is staring at and intensely watching Mirabella's performance. So she getting jealous while she watches him watch Mirabella. Jules is infuriated as he seems mesmerized by Mirabella's fire dance. At the sight of Joseph, she loses control and concentration of holding the bear under control. So this part is hilarious. As Jules is watching Joseph watch Mirabella, she releases her mental concentration on the bear. Arsenio tries to get her attention as the bear starts to roar and shake his head from side to side. The bear seems to be waking from a deep sedation. He is irritated by the fire dance Mirabella is performing. The bear gets loose, climbs across Catherine's table, slashes and injures some high priestesses. As he charges toward the stage, he rips down people in the crowd who are in his path. Ironically, he kills and rips through some of the high priestesses, which is a kind of good thing because the priestess were preparing to rush the stage and kill Mirabella and Arsenio. And now at least the priestess's plans to make Catherine a white-handed queen by killing Mirabella Arsenio is prevented and unsuccessful now. But the bear jumps onto the stage and towards Mirabella because he's enraged by the fire and flames. Joseph jumps on the stage and tries to protect Mirabella from the bear. He manages to save her from the bear. The bear runs off into the woods. After her close call, Mirabella, not realizing that the bear was never under Arsenio's control, accuses Arsenio of commanding the bear to attack and kill her. She says to Joseph, she sent the bear for me after everything I did to save her in a tent. Remember, they're about to behead, the priestess is about to behead Arsenio in the tent for running away with Billy to the mainland. So when they washed up on the shore, they were ready to drag her in a tent and kill her until Mirabella saved her with thunder. So after everything, so she says to Joseph, she sent the bear for me after everything I did to save her. She would have let it tear me apart if not for you. She truly believes that Arsenio would try to hurt her hours after Mirabella had conjured a storm, saving her in the tent before a group of priestesses tried to kill her. But Mirabella didn't realize what was really going on with the bear. Okay, so what happened? Hold on, go back. Go on, Shakina. Go on, wait.
So we're gonna talk about the bear.
I guess.
The bear. Come on now.
I guess we
Well,
can.
we gotta talk about the bear.
I guess we have to.
I mean, they drugged the bear. The bear, it's not the bear's fault. If he killed some of them high priests, it's not his fault. They slipped this bear a roofie or something because they put the bear into something that he had no part of. They found the bear in the woods and tried to pass him off as Arsenio's familiar. The bear didn't know what the hell was going on. He woke up, that bear was drugged. And Jules was supposed to hold him under a spell so Arsenio could pretend that was her familiar.
Right.
But then Jules lost control when she lost her concentration watching Joseph and Mirabella. Mirabella dancing the bear, and she took her spell off, took her concentration off that bear. That bear woke up. That bear woke up and said, "What the hell is going on?" All he knew is that he was standing next to Arsenio, and he seen a woman up on stage, Mirabella dancing with her little fire dance. The bear got confused. I wouldn't have thought the bear would have did the same thing. Come on now. Okay, alright. I know you gotta finish the story, but somebody need to call PETA or the Humane Society or SPCA or whoever and report what happened to this bear. This bear. Okay. Okay, but they was wrong for them, but they did. That bear was confused. The bear was drugged and woke up He was hooked a date rape or something. His bear didn't know. It's not his bear's fault. Okay,
Mm.
I'm gonna let you get back. We gotta find out what happened to the bear.
Yeah, we do. We have to find out what happened to this bear. So where was I at? Okay. In the meantime, well, I seen after the seeing the bear debacle with the crowd and the big distraction. Catherine feels she's the weakest of the three sisters, and she fears she'll lose her life. So she takes the distraction as an opportunity to make a run for it. As planned, she runs towards the Brica domain. It is where it's off in the woods. It's where she and Peter had planned to meet if she got a chance during the quickening performance. She runs there, and he's there waiting for her. They meet, embrace, and confess their love for one another. But their love is forbidden because she's only supposed to court and marry one of her five suitors from the mainland. Then the most shocking thing happens, something that doesn't make sense. Peter, the no good bastard, says to Catherine, I'm sorry. And then he throws Catherine into the Brica Domain's bottomless pit. What part of what? Now I'm confused. What the hell going on? Because was this part of the deal that he made with his aunt Natalia to get a seat on the black council? I'm just confused at this part.
Okay, I have to admit, at first I wasn't really feeling the story. And the only exciting part of the story was that little secret love triangle going on between Jules and Joseph and Mirabella. And then when Mirabella showed up for the quickening, for the day of the quickening, and they all had to meet up at Innisfield Valley, where they all had to do their little separate ceremonies. And then they had this little secret rendezvous with Mirabella. It was like that was getting interesting to me. He was having, they had a secret, Joseph had a secret rendezvous with Mirabella. And so that part was interesting. So it was that was the only part that was holding me to this story, that was keeping my interest. But until that bear came along, the bear took the whole story.
Yeah, he
The
did.
bear,
He did.
that bear put some shit in the game.
He sure did.
Everybody had to perform for and show off their skills the night of the quickening. Now, Catherine had to show off her skills on how to eat poison, so she had her little poison. She had her little performance to show off that she could still eat all kind of poisonous food. And then we move on to Arseno, however you pronounce her name. Arseno showed off her little stuff. And the bear is not really her bear. Supposed to be her familiar, so they had to fake put a potion, put a spell on the bear. And then, then Mirabella got up there to do her little fire dance to show off her skill. But that bear, that bear turned everything around. That bear put some shit in the game. Like, oh, not tonight. They couldn't hold that bear under their control because that bear was not Arseno's familiar. He supposed to be a tame bear. So see, they put a potion, they put a spell on the bear while Jules held the bear under control to make everybody think Arseno had the bear under control. Jules watching Mirabella and Joseph eyeball each other, so she couldn't hold the bear under control under her spell. Arseno couldn't hold the bear. That bear put some shit in the game.
He did.
When that bear got loose, and couldn't stand the flames that Mirabella was dancing in. He jumped on that stage and it was over with.
Yeah.
That bear said, not today.
Right.
Not tonight. And what the heck going on? Why Peter would throw Catherine into the pit because she was trying to get away, saying, okay, when the bear got loose and still killed some of the high priestesses. And I guess Catherine said this is my quick getaway because, they got to kill each other. After all they showing off their skills, they don't have to kill each other. So I guess Catherine said she had been planned that she would meet her friend Peter, who is not one of her quarters, the one that supposed to court her and be king, but he just there with her friend. He told her to meet him in the woods and didn't know she was going to get thrown in the damn pit. What was that about?
I
So
don't know.
this book I didn't like, but it got excited at the end, especially that bear. I'm not gonna read. I'm not gonna read the next book. I wasn't gonna read the next sequel book or be involved no kind of way or even care about the next sequel. But I want to know what happened. I want to know what happened between that blood triangle with Mirabella, Joseph, and Jules. I'd like to know what happened to that bear. And that bear puts that. Now I gotta know what happened to that bear. That bear is the dog gonna start a damn show. He that bear. Where did bear go? That's what I want to know.
Mm,
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
you are so silly.
I'm gonna let you continue on.
Okay.
Him there, Blake gotta know what happened to the bear. Where that bear at? That bear gonna make bear made his debut. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
he sure did make his debut, but
Okay, all right. Okay, I quit. But here's your mic. But we all want to know what happened to that bear.
yeah, he made his debut, but I don't know much more confusing of the. I'm just confused why Peter threw. Why did Peter throw Catherine in that pit anyway? So now the quickening ceremony and performance, along with the Beltane night ceremony, has abruptly ended. Everyone has somberly gone back to their parts of the island due to the bear interruption and the disappearance of Catherine. So nobody know what happens to her. And there was a search party for a few days after that until everyone decided to end the quickening and Beltane ceremonies. I suppose they'll reschedule everything because I'm guessing further rituals have been forfeited and postponed until they find out or figure out what happened to Catherine. Besides Catherine's disappearance, the townspeople's attitude towards Arsino back at Woodspring have gone from hating her for running away to respecting her as a hero because they think that bear was under her control. She think that she sicked that bear. Everybody think that she had control of the bear, but she didn't. They were impressed with what they think were her skills with controlling the brown bear, not knowing that she had no power or skills at all. The whole time the bear was being controlled by Jules, but her and Jules let the people think what they want about Arsino. At least they aren't mad at her anymore or running away with Billy. So anyway, the next scene at Wolfspring is her and Billy chatting it up about everything that happened tonight in Suffield Valley about the bear and Catherine's disappearance. I have to explain that the next scene entails an attempt on Arsino's life. No one knows about it, not even Billy. Billy's father, William Chatworth Sr., owns a food shop on the mainland. Billy gives her a box of candies from the shop, which consists of chocolate-covered nuts and taffy candies, neatly gift wrapped in a box with ribbons. So the attempt on her life is set up by Billy's father, William Chatworth Sr., unknowingly to Billy or anyone else. Just then, after Billy hands the box of candies to Arsino, Joseph walks up. He can't make eye contact with either of them. Arsino is angry with Joseph because he's hurt her friend. Her and Jules feels he's betrayed her by going with Mirabella. She asks him what does he want when he walks up. He tells her he wants to talk to Jules. Arsino lets Joseph know that Jules is living in the house where she's staying now, so she tells him she'll go in the house and let her know he wants to talk to her. So she takes the candies in the house with her and sets them down in Jules' room and let her know Joseph is there to see her. So Joseph goes in to talk to Jules. She asks about Mirabella. She asks him about Mirabella. She asks him in her words, quote, "Do you want me to die now instead of her? Would that make you happy?" She's asking him because the last thing to happen was her watching him jump on stage to protect Mirabella from the bear. She opens a box of candy that Arsino brought in the house as she's talking to him, none of them knowing the candy is poison, and Billy's father, William Chatworth, gave it to him to give Arsino and figured she would eat it. The poison candy is meant for Arsino, and unfortunately Jules has casually and unknowingly eaten one of the candies, and as she's speaking to Joseph, suddenly she slowly falls to the floor. She realizes she's eaten poison. Joseph runs to her. He grabs her in his arms and she mutters to him, "Poison." He yells for Arsenio and Billy to help. The next scene, Kate and Ellis have tended to Jules. She's laying in her bed resting. Joseph sits at her bedside. Billy swears to Arsenio and the others that he knew nothing about the candy being poisoned. He tells Arsenio, I didn't know, Arsenio. You have to believe me, I didn't. Arsenio replies, I know that. A few days pass and Jules is sitting up in her bed. She feels better. Then, while everyone is out of the house, Joseph, Kate, Ellis, Billy, and her mother, Madra, are busy. The house is quiet, and it's just Arsenio and Jules. Arsenio seems bothered. Jules asks her what's wrong. Arsenio tells Jules something she hasn't told the others. She tells Jules that she ate 3 pieces of the candy before she brought them in the house. Before Jules ate any, no one saw her eat it, but she never got even slightly sick. And there is the discovery. So that's when she discovers that now only her and Jewel knows now. Arsenio says, I haven't been a giftless queen all this time, Jules, unable to sprout or turn a tomato red or get some stupid bird to sit on my shoulder. Now Arsenio knows why she has never developed her skills as an actress, why wasn't able to control the bear at the quickening performance, it was because she was never a naturalist. Arsenio exclaims to Jules, all this time I thought I was nothing, but I'm not nothing, Jules. I'm the poisoner. So at this moment, we find out that Arsenio was mislabeled as the naturalist, and that's why she didn't have ability to control the animal, the bear, or anything. She was actually the poisoner. That's why she didn't die when she ate the candy or get sick. Arsenio is the true poisoner queen. So on that, meanwhile, back at Print at Griefdrake Manor at Catherine's home, Peter's backstabbing ass travels back to the manor with her aunts, his aunts, Natalia and Genevieve, uh, Catherine's high priestess, keeping up the facade that he knows nothing of what really happened to Catherine. Nobody knows, but acting as if he wasn't the one who threw her into a bottomless pit. He joined in a search for her for days until they decided to return home. He acts and played along like he was concerned while participating in the search. Natalia sulks around through the big dark manor as she thinks about Catherine and assumes Arsenio was secretly killed by. She assumed Arsenio secretly killed Catherine. Just then, as she's in deep thought thinking about Catherine, she steps out into the hallway. Then she notices a girl standing in the foyer. It looks just like Catherine. She thinks she's seen a ghost at first, but then she realizes it's really Catherine. Natalia grabs and hugs her. Then Natalia calls for a servant to get blankets to warm her and run a bath. She's filthy and with dirt caked in her hair and clothes. There's cut scrapes and blood on her face and arms. Blood is running down her arms. Her fingertips are red with blood where some of her nails are torn off. Catherine survived the pit and climbed out alive. Natalia grabs and hugs her. Then Natalia calls for a servant to get blankets to warm her and run her a bath. Catherine coldly exclaims, I do not want that. Natalia says, what? What do you mean, sweetheart? What do you want? And then Catherine says, I want revenge. And then I want my crown. Wow, and that's the end of Three Dark Crowns. The next a sequel after this, which I do plan on reading, One Dark Throne. And halfway through this book, I immediately said I would not read a sequel to this book, but To our surprise, Arsenio shows she's not just a tomboy with not a care or interest in courting anyone, but she does manage to make friends with the guy she's supposed to court, and we think she's the weakest character because she never develops her natural skill of taming animals or growing plants from petals. But we find out it's not because she's weak; it's because she's not a naturalist. She was only labeled a naturalist. It finds out that she's the real gift. And so her real gift is a skill. Is the poisoner, a good poisoner. She eats poison candy and doesn't have the slightest reaction, not even a stomach ache. I just have to see what happens to her character after this book. The ending really caught me up. Caught me up. I never thought Catherine would be the strong or determined enough to crawl her way out of a bottomless pit. But then again, we didn't know she was going to get thrown in the pit. And now we see why she at first seemed the weakest, but she did not pass her first private party when she passed out after eating poisoned food. It's because maybe her skill really isn't the poisoner, but maybe she's the true powers of skill is the naturalist since we find out that Arsenio is the poisoner. I don't know. Maybe she's the one who's supposed to control animals, but we'll see because she sure controls her pet snake well, but she's known to grow plants well too. And she really didn't think her only true friend, that punk ass Peter, would throw her in a pit. So she shows us that at the very end that she has true grit, strength, and determination. And so now we have to see how she'll get her revenge and get her crown, like she said at the end. And then last and definitely not least, the sister Marabella. Okay, she's the sister that seems to be the strongest and the most controversial one, but not only has she honed her skill and gift as an elemental well, controlling thunder, lightning, and handling fire, but she's also a bit of a seductress because she got Jules' man Joseph gone. She got him hooked, line, and sinker, but she got an even juicier storyline when this bear she has beef with, or at least she thinks she has a beef with her sister Arsena and the bear, because she believes Arsena sicked the bear on her, not knowing it was Jules who lost control of the bear. Plus, on top of the fact that her energy, anger, or vengeance is misdirected at Arsena or the bear, but she might want to watch out for Jules, and she really don't want no smoke from that bear. I'm just saying, Shakita. Wait,
It just sounds like to me that, that, let me just say something. It sounds like to me that Mirabella went around too. Mirabella is not done with Arsena, even though it wasn't Arseno's fault with this bear. And she don't realize that it was Jules that had that bear under control. And that bear got loose. But it sounds like to me Mirabella got some issues when she got it. Not just with herself, she gonna run into that bear again. Now we ain't read the second book, the sequel yet, but we are. I think it's called The Dark Reign or something, the one throne something, the next book.
what?
But we gonna get we're gonna get to that next book, the sequel. And One Dark Throne, I think is the name of it, but we're gonna get to that one.
One
And I'm just
doctor.
imagining in my head what's gonna be like, cause when she run into that bear again, I wanna hear that conversation between Mirabella and that doggone bear, or Mirabella and Arseno. It's gonna be something. I can imagine what it's gonna be like. Just imagine what that conversation gonna be like. When she run into Arseno or that bear again, and they start name calling or doing whatever they gonna do. Can you imagine what the conversation gonna be like?
I've been called good about work. Fucking hard back. You can't call nobody hard, bitch. You can't call nobody hard, bitch. You a whole NFL offensive line, okay? You can't call nobody hard. Stop it. You build the concrete. Don't do it. Don't do it. That girl. Let me find out you scared of that. Who got you zip all over the That was 2 weeks ago. You was talking big shit. You was talking big shit. All of a sudden, I ain't sure you won't know what the fuck about it, bitch. I ain't never been in my motherfucking county work, bitch. I gotta go out down motherfucking home, bitch. Back half of that ugly up. Back half of that ugly up. Just half of it. I can only take a certain amount of ugly at a time. Back half of that ugly up. I said, where is better be you, baby? No, I said, don't do that. Don't do that. Bro, I got my.
I don't think that bear is too pressed about nothing. I really don't. That bear ain't scared.
First of all, what you scared now? All of a sudden, what you scared of that? Y'all got me being messy and stuff like that. I don't give a fuck. Bitch, you ain't nobody gonna whoop my ass. They may think they would, but they ain't gonna whoop my motherfucking ass.
You are so silly. Oh my god. Oh my god. So anyway, thank you for listening. And my next review will be One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake, which is the sequel to this story here. I will be that will be my next review. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe.